Welcome to the CG Bros and part 3 in our tutorial series on the shattering features within the PDI plugin for Maya. Let's go ahead and start with the object that we've been working with here. Let's go ahead and select that. We're going to go ahead and see what the third option is here, and that's the radial option. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these parameters here. There's the number of rings and the noise. And you want to think about it if we were to look at it from the top here. Number of rings, pretend you're looking down a tree stump, and the number of rings, they're concentric circles around the based around the pivot. So based on the number of rings, we can set this up to any number we'd like, but say number of rings 7. So we're going to get 7 concentric rings, and the noise factor here is actually the fracturing between the noise value between the number of rings that we're going to see. So let's go ahead and set that up to a pretty high value. Let's go ahead and set it to 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. Let's go ahead and set our number of shards to standard 1000 and shatter it. You can see how that gives us a nice radial pattern. And then you can see the number of rings, and the offset is based on this noise factor here. Let's go ahead and undo that and set our noise factor down to, say, 0, just so you can see what that would look like without any noise at all. Let's go ahead and select our object and reshatter it. And you can see the distribution of the fractures is extremely uniform, and that doesn't look very realistic. But depending on the effect that you're after, this could be very useful as well. Okay, we're going to show you some of these other options here in the radial axis here, but I'm going to go ahead and create a new piece of geometry. And on the last shatter we did it along the shortest side, and there's 3 axes here: the shortest, the medium, and then the longest. So as you saw before, I'm going to go ahead and reduce this to 200. And when we do the radial axis on the shortest side, that's more for doing applications like glass, something crystalline. I'm going to introduce a little bit of noise into that. Maybe 0.9. Select it, shatter it. Again, you can see the irregularities that introduced. Alright, let's go ahead and undo that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and select the medium radial axis, and that's going to go along the medium length here. We can kind of take a look at that. And these axes are both, the medium and the longest, are both good for doing planks of wood. I'm going to go ahead and set the longest. So the pieces of wood actually shatter along their radial fractures along the longest length of the board. That looks pretty realistic when you're doing some destruction type animation. Okay? So let's go ahead and undo that. Okay, to make this a really a more realistic board shatter and take it to the next level, I might set this down to say 50, shatter it along the longest edge here, and I might select all my objects and then do a uniform shatter of maybe 3. And that'll fracture the boards in a more dynamic and realistic way, because they actually will break out. Now you could actually model these out, but this is a very nice procedural way to really get a lot of complexity in your models.